Oh my god. Okay, so I just saw a video about. Okay, let me actually do the thing. Hello, everybody. This is Godzilla Louise here, and today we got a debate video because a video about a debate, I should say. The MonsterVerse Gods. Obviously I don't think I already checked. I tried to do this video before I ran out of storage on my iPad. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Maybe I should do this on my computer, but whatever. Either way, I'm going to talk about this. Because honestly, I don't think there's any... I just hate this debate. It's the MonsterVerse Godzilla, Thermonuclear Godzilla versus Evolved Godzilla debate. I have my 2 cents to put into it because I don't... And it's not so much because I think I know who would win. I don't care who would win at this point. I'm not on either side anymore. I'm on like Evolved Godzilla side, mainly because I don't care about power scaling. And I also care about context, but we'll get into that in a moment. Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't get into that in a moment. So here's the thing. The reason I say I don't want... The reason this is not a video about who would win is because I want to just put this to rest. I don't think I have the influence or power to do that. I know I don't, in fact. But I have to try. This debate has gone on long enough, even though the video I saw was not from recently. It was like from right after the movie came out. Godzilla X Kong the New Empire. It came out like a month after, so it wasn't recent at all. But I'm fairly certain the debate's still going at this point, which pisses me off. Even though it wasn't the video that confirmed, just something about it. Just either way, there are 2 types of power scaling, and it's like I'm gonna call them MonsterVerse power scaling versus or MonsterVerse scaling or versus Dragon Ball scaling or just power scaling. And honestly, MonsterVerse scaling is better in general, but power scaling or Dragon Ball scaling is the one that has really started this debate. It is at fault. And that is because it removes context. I'm going to pause it right now. I'm going to go back to recording in just a sec because I need to stop it real quick. Okay, yeah, I did that because this video I need to make sure I can actually record the whole thing. Okay, anyway. So power scaling, like the Dragon Ball scaling, is just... it removes context. What it does is it focuses on just raw power and durability and output. It does not care about if you can, if you are on your home turf. It does not care, or I already did this. It does not care about if you're on your home turf. It does not care about if you, I don't know, it does, there's a lot of things it doesn't really care about. But they're all situational. It doesn't really care about anything situational, so like, yeah, you get the point. Like, anything that could give you the advantage in a specific circumstance. So like, Godzilla being underwater is a good example in the MonsterVerse. When he's underwater, he's supposedly like faster, he's stronger. Or whatever it is. He doesn't get that. He's more, but the thing is, that's his home turf. He's more at home in the water. They don't care about that in Dragon Ball scaling. They just say, whatever. MonsterVerse scaling does care about that stuff. They also care about like stuff like Oh, is it an ice titan? Well, will the fire stuff do more to that? Maybe not, but in the case of Shimo, but maybe. Um, Obviously, those are actually important questions that Dragon Ball scaling just ignores. That's the big problem of Dragon Ball scaling that has led to the creation of this massive debate that has plagued the MonsterVerse fandom for so long. I just can't with it anymore. And I think at this point, it's become clear who the winners are on both sides of this framework. The side that requires context, which is MonsterVerse scaling. MonsterVerse does use power scaling, just not Dragon Ball scaling. It doesn't use Dragon Ball like, oh, this character's planet scale or whatever bullshit. It's not a planet. It doesn't use that. It uses stuff where Kaiju can win, like, say, 5 out of 10 times. They win like half the time, but they don't always win. Or like 6 out of 10 times. They don't always win, but they win most of the time. That's what Godzilla is in the MonsterVerse. He doesn't always win, but he wins most of the damn time. That's what Kong is in the MonsterVerse. That's what... Get out of here. That's what most of the Kaiju in the MonsterVerse do. They don't always win. I'm going to pause it again because, yeah, I'm getting to that point where I need to pause it again. Okay. BRB. Okay. But yeah, it's like the power scaling thing that the Dragon Ball scaling, they don't use that. They don't care about that. They just hate it. They disregard it because they want to look at raw power, output, and durability. They don't care about context. So what they look at, as I said, is that. And as such, well, Thermogodzilla wins to them because he has the higher observable power output. The film just showed him way out competing Evolved Godzilla because that's the way the film was filmed. I mean, yeah, they didn't really... Admittedly, that comes down to because the way the film... The nature of the components... But even so, you can't... It's more about the observable in that case. Thermonuclear had a more observable effect, but when you... But the nature... It does affect... Yeah, there are statements that say... And you can argue that Godzilla... Evolved Godzilla doesn't have that actual power output, but even so, he supposedly does. I don't know. If you ignore the fact that that's an argument you can make based on the films alone, I mean, the fact of the matter is, Dragon Ball scaling also relies on statements. Both frameworks also rely on statements. So, there's no real argument for them to make other than the fact that observable power output is higher in Thermo, which I get it, but because they don't really care about the context. So, get it. Stamina is higher in Evolved. That's why I'm because I'm on the side of MonsterVerse scaling, that I'm with Evolved winning, because he has higher stamina in the same power output. He's going to win. Especially considering he can just absorb that energy. They both have the same energy absorption. So it doesn't matter if he's going to survive that blast each time, as he was shown in King of the Monsters doing, even though he was not on the receiving end in that. It's a dumb debate, but either way. Point is, get the point. I'm trying to make sure this doesn't devolve, but given I'm having to do this, do the thing where I have to I don't know. Anyway, I think I'm gonna have to leave this here, but you get the point. Just whenever you see this debate turn up and you're against it, don't respond. Just leave it as is. Do not respond. I'm just gonna be honest. This debate will continue for however long into the foreseeable future, because all it's being brought up again for is because power scalers want to boost their ego. That's all it is. That is literally all it's being brought up for anymore. At this point, they just want to boost their ego. They want to prove Fermo's cooler or whatever. I don't know. Okay, this is just an addendum, but and I did just kind of cut off a bunch of the ending of it previously, but either way. I do want to say, I do think there is a thing to be said with, this is a debate that needs to end. Even if it isn't in my power to do so or get it to end, because obviously I don't think I have the influence. I don't think I'm not anyone who has influence enough to cause this debate to end. Just, I am not. I do think something needs to happen. And I'm going to try to be that something. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm doing this. As I said, this whole video has been me just saying the debate. For one thing, the debate has gone on long enough. But anyway, the point is, people, when the debate gets brought up, it's really just bring on ego, as I just said. And the point I just cut off from. Like the power scalers, the Dragon Ball power scalers type people. But the thing is, it kind of doesn't, responding to it just feeds their ego too. So, and it just makes them want to say, oh, you're just being a baby or whatever bullshit. It's like, what the fuck? Why are we responding into it anymore? Like, I literally had this one time, long time ago now. I mean, not long time ago now, but long enough. Like, it was like, the movie only came out like a little over a year ago now. Point is, I had this one video I responded to a while back that I was getting really mad at, and I kind of had to stop responding to it and just make a community post on. I got really mad with the guy who made that video, and it was like, just blasted him on my community post. I was pissed. I don't normally do that, but either way, I had to do it because I just couldn't deal. But the thing is, that was just feeding his ego. He was a power scaler. We can't do that. We need to be better than the power scalers, and we have not been over this debate. Look, some people call me a power scaler because, oh, my Godzilla just looks like it. I have a version of Godzilla for my, like, fanfiction stuff I make. My version of Godzilla generally is very powerful, but it's not just because he's a power scaling monster. No, I try to avoid that with him. He has his advantages, but yes, he is generally very powerful, but, like, there are advantages to him that are different, yes. It's not just to be, I don't know. Point is, my Godzilla differs from a lot of Godzillas, and he is very powerful, but that doesn't mean... Point is, I've been called a power scaler. I don't know, that doesn't... You had getting off topic here. Point is, I'm trying to think now. Okay. The addendum is kind of getting long. Okay. I just don't think there's any real point to trying to feed ego, because that's all we're doing by talking about this debate, and especially by responding to it in the way we do, and even just in general. Really, all they do to bring it up is just try to feed their ego. There is no reason to feed ego. So, stop responding to it. I don't think it's a good idea to report it, but just like, obviously I think If you're a power skeleton, then yes. If you're like a Dragon Ball power skeleton, yes, obviously Thermo wins because he has the higher observable power. If you're a actual like Monsterverse scaler who cares about context, who actually does care about context, Evolved, because he has the same power. He has all the same stuff. He has higher stamina though, so he's gonna win because he's gonna outlast Thermo. It's just, it's dumb that this debate has gone on as long as it has. But yeah, anyway. I'm going to leave this video here. This video has gone on long enough. So, this has been Godzilla Luis, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.